It's Friday, April 7th, 2023. The purpose of this channel is to help each listener to defend against mind control and use self-hypnosis to program your own mind so that you can accomplish what you want. Mostly what we're doing here is showing you how to defend against the mind control that is out there. Okay, let's get right into it. Former San Francisco fire commissioner slashed and beaten with a pipe just days after the Bob Lee stabbing and murder. Okay, that's San Francisco. But that's not enough from San Francisco. Turning Point USA, run by Charlie Kirk, had an event at a university, and I believe it was San Francisco, of course, with former NCAA swimmer Riley Gaines. She's a woman, and she was assaulted twice at the event by a man in a dress, as she described it. So think about that. And I watched video, and these are students who have lost their minds. I mean, they are so brainwashed, they are so programmed that they're just screaming. You know, their chant is trans rights are human rights, and they just scream this over and over again. And what you're witnessing is mass psychosis. It's just delusion. It's just delusion. It's been called mass formation, mass hypnosis, definitely on the negative side. You know, the ninja use Saiminjutsu hypnosis for their own benefit to help them accomplish feats and many other things, but there is a negative side to it. There's a negative side to programming the mind. You know, in the Bible, it says, train a child in the way he should go, and when he gets older, he won't, change from it, he won't divert from it. That's exactly what's happening. They're getting the children young, and I've said this for many, many, many years. They're getting the children young, and once they've got these ideas in their mind about gender and about, what's right and what's wrong, it's very difficult to change their minds. It's not impossible, but it is difficult. Okay, what else? Then the kicker, Columbia University psychiatrists. Now, I'm a graduate of the grad school at Columbia, and I have to tell you, I've never been more ashamed of Columbia University. I mean, I can say I've never been overly proud of Columbia, but now I'm absolutely ashamed to be associated with Columbia. The president of Teachers College, the graduate school, is a disaster. And Columbia University psychiatrists they now have a program, and they have video on this. And I watched the video where they talk about transgender and helping youth to transition. And what they're really talking about, what they're really doing is they're preparing to mutilate these children, these teens, these whoever they are, young people, and somehow pass it off as good. It's absolutely demonic. It's evil. And, the ninja is supposed to walk the line between, the good and the bad, the evil and the light and the dark. Walking that line. And that can be necessary, and that's important. But going over the line into pure evil, and that is evil. When you do something like that, I mean, I can just tell you, none of this existed 30, 40 years ago. It just didn't exist. There were girls and there were boys. and nobody was in between. Nobody was confused. Nobody talked about this stuff. And a person can argue, and they will argue, right? They'll say, oh, but there was, you just didn't know, and da 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 da. This is the mind control. So there was a poll recently, and it showed that 32% of the nation would reelect Joe Biden. Okay, that is perfect. That shows you, that is an example of the roughly 30% of the population who is experiencing this mass formation, this mass hypnosis, and they will not come out of it. And I've been saying this now for years, that they won't get it until the bullet is passing through their brain. Like they just, you really can't help them. The only thing you and I can do to help them is to continue to speak out. Continue to speak out. And what that does is it stops the negative hypnosis from becoming deeper. It doesn't mean you're going to bring them out of it, but it means that you can stop it before they commit atrocities. And that's what happens. If they keep going deeper, which means you and I and others don't speak out, then the negative hypnosis can get deeper until the person gets to the point, and the person is 30%. When they get to the point where they just don't want anything to do. So what that swimmer saw and experienced at that university, at that college event, was that group of people who have no tolerance for another point of view. They have no tolerance. Like, you're probably the type of person who is tolerant of another point of view. You're willing to listen to the other side. You may not agree. You may even be quite upset about what the other side says, but you're willing to at least let them speak. Well, the 30% is not like that. The 30% is completely against you speaking, which is exactly why you have to speak, because otherwise they take up all the room. They take up all the ears. So we've got to speak out. We've got to find ways. And even better, we've got to run for office. So if you can run for local office, school board, or other positions in your local government, do it. If you're not the one, support someone who is. Get people into a position of power to block this. The Columbia folks have introduced a bill, I'm told, that will essentially allow them to take children from their parents. This has been going on. I mean, child support is essentially that, where the government, the Child Protective Services comes in and can take your child or block you from seeing your child. So this has been going on for a long, long time, but now it's just ramping up. Everything is getting more and more serious, more and more dire. So you've got to speak out, and you've got to program your own mind. What I suggest you do is every morning, every night, be grateful. Very important. Be grateful for what you have. No matter what you have. If you have a car, there are people that don't have a car. If you can ride a bus, there are people that can't ride a bus. If you have food, there are people that don't have food. If you eat twice a day, there are people who eat once a day. If you eat once a day, there's people who don't eat in a day. Whatever it is you have, be grateful for it and want more. Aim higher, but be grateful for what you have. So this is a short video tonight. We're going into, it's Good Friday. We're going into Easter weekend. And I'm going to encourage you to just be grateful for what you have. Speak out against the tyranny. We are in deep, deep mind control right now. And by the way, the television is the #1 tool. A psychologist, Eldon Taylor, he wrote a book. In that book, he pointed out that 1 minute of watching television puts a person into a hypnotic state. And whether you're watching YouTube or you're watching the television, it's essentially the same once you get into it, but certainly the television, because the television is expertly designed to hold your attention. They want to hold your attention for every second that there's a program on. And it's called television programming for a reason. Okay, you're being programmed. There is a program on, whatever it is, and it's programming you. There's nothing on television that is not designed to be propaganda in some way, shape, or form. Everything, the commercials you see, they're designed not just to sell the product, but actually to indoctrinate the viewer into a way of being. It's one of the reasons why you see so many Black folks having their own TV shows now, being in commercials, being in movies, right? It's all about that. It's all about, and it's not just Blacks, it's people of color right now. People of color are, I mean, imagine, I like to say to the white liberals out there who are constantly speaking about, people of color and minorities, and they want to help. And it's great that people want to help people. That's fantastic. I help people every chance I get. Any people I attempt to help. The problem is that the white folks are being turned into the enemy. And this has been going on for a long time, but it's accelerating. And here's the problem. When the white people become a minority, and that keeps getting closer and closer and closer and closer, when that happens, all the advantages disappear. So whatever they try to say about white privilege or advantages or whatever, good. That's a good thing. If you have an advantage, that's great, because there are forces working to take away your advantage. And when you have no advantage, when you're not the minority, when you're not the majority anymore and you're a minority, now you're at a disadvantage. Who are you going to complain to? I just got an email from the district attorney or the lawyer for the county, and basically they're giving away grant money to organizations who will fight for justice for minorities. Basically, that's what it is. And they did it last year, and they did it the year before, and they're doing it again this year. And so if you're the right group and you're fighting for justice for the right group, meaning the group that they want to support, which is not white men, by the way. Like if you're like, well, white men are not getting a fair shake, fat chance. You're not getting any help at all. You're not getting any grants. You're getting nothing, zero zilch. But if you're a minority, then you got a shot for a grant. And that's how it is. This is not the first time. This is not the first organization. This is what's being done. Okay, the Blacks are marching so they can get reparations in the $5 million a piece. I mean, this is absurd. If you want to talk about slavery, everybody who pays the income tax is a slave. It's just that you're a voluntary slave. Remember, the income tax is based on voluntary compliance. Okay, voluntary compliance. There's a reason for that. There's a legal reason for that. So I'm going to leave it there. I'm just trying to shake up some thoughts. Here's what I'd like you to do. Leave a comment. I'd like to know what you're thinking. Is this video helpful or is it not helpful? Because I don't have to do this. If you like it, let me know. If you don't, let me know. Hit the notification bell. Give it a thumbs up, helps the algorithm. Promote it, share it. Let's see if there's an audience for this message, because if not, then this country is going to continue, not start, not maybe, continue to slide into the abyss. And it's only the people who are physically, mentally, emotionally, socially, financially, spiritually attuned and connected and aware and awake who are going to survive it and maybe thrive. All the others are going to have a slow, inevitable decline. And that's the real goal. They want to get rid of people. You know, the old film from the 70s, you should watch that film, Soylent Green. Soylent Green is people. You know, Charlton Heston, Moses. Check it out. It'll be a real eye-opener. It's all been predicted. Soylent Green, made in the early 70s, set in 2020. Interesting. Okay. Have a great night. I'll talk to you soon.